When I was 14, I planned my wedding.
This one's wife. Is this the drugs again? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife has been dogged by allegations that she indulges in recreational pharmaceuticals. There are a variety of reasons why this allegation keeps surfacing in relation to her. The first is that we know that Harry has admitted to drug use in the past, and, given his personality and behaviours, it's highly likely that he has continued to utilise drugs. Secondly, the presentation of this one's wife at times does cause people to think that she looks rather manic, that she looks high, that she has wild staring eyes, that her jaw moves oddly, that she is wafting through the air with her pissed up ninja hands, that there's furious blinking, nose touching, nose wiping, all signs that someone might have been on the old expensive, the old snow, the old beak. It's also the case that many narcissists will utilize drugs. Now, it doesn't follow that just because somebody is a narcissist, that means that they are a drug user. But it has greater commonality as a consequence of several factors. First of all, as I've explained previously, alcohol and recreational pharmaceuticals are a fuel substitute for the narcissist. They imbue that similar sense of power, and therefore certain narcissists will turn to them as a fuel substitute. Furthermore, the narcissist's sense of entitlement, their failure to be accountable, for instance, in many jurisdictions, the use of recreational pharmaceuticals is a criminal offence, but the narcissist simply doesn't care because they can do as they want and they regard themselves as untouchable. Furthermore, the grandiosity of the narcissist, their deluded sense of invincibility, means that they believe that they could take copious amounts of recreational pharmaceuticals and it's not going to cause any problems for them. It's often the case that certain narcissists are well off, and in the circumstances that allows them to have monetary firepower to purchase the recreational pharmaceuticals, and it may well also provide them with the appropriate connections to lay their hands upon them. Accordingly, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it creates a greater likelihood of drug use. Accordingly, as a consequence of her association with Harry, previous performances, and the fact that she's a narcissist, there are a number of factors that support the probability that this one's wife indulges. She appeared on Emma Greed's podcast, which has provided me with a wealth of material to analyse as a consequence of her actions and what she has been talking about. But there's a short clip here which calls into question what's actually going on with her face. Is this the drugs again? Have a look at the footage.
And I think what was so wild, maybe the surprise came in when anything that my children were wearing started to get monetized and affiliate sales and part of headlines and things. And part of headlines and things.
Now, it's not particularly important to focus on what she's saying. That's just more of her beige word salad nonsense. But you'll notice that as she starts speaking, she's looking upwards and her eyes are somewhat starey, which could denote that there's the utilization of recreational pharmaceuticals. And then all of a sudden, she purses her face and there's this rapid eye blinking. She then shakes her head, doesn't look at the interviewer. She then looks down to the side, she wipes her nose, and then engages with the interviewer as her hands come up and she starts waving them around. There's a look to the left, a clench of the jaw, sticking of the tongue. It all rather bizarre, isn't it? Now, there's two possible explanations for what you're witnessing there. The first is that she has taken some form of stimulant by way of a recreational pharmaceutical, which has resulted in these strange responses: the rapid eye blinking, the jutting of the jaw, the looking to the side, the wiping of the nose, all responses as a consequence of the fact that she's stimulated. Therefore, it raises a possibility that there might be drug use. And there are other instances throughout the other excerpts that I've witnessed. As I've mentioned separately, I haven't spent the time watching the entirety of the podcast. I've got better things to do. But I have looked at some clips, and repeatedly you see this strange behaviour from this one's wife. It's also the case that this might be driven as a consequence of the reaction to what she is doing. Remember, when she's recording this podcast, she, as a narcissist, needs to have control over whoever is on her radar. And at the point of recording, there are the following people that she needs to have under control: Emma Greed, the interviewer, then any other production staff that might be around, and then the eventual audience. Accordingly, her narcissism is set up to ensure that it gains and maintains control over those three groupings. There are lots of different ways a narcissist can do this. For this one's wife, she does so by the telling of anecdotes. And as I've explained separately, much of what she says is invented because she's empty and she's dull. And either she'll take somebody else's experience and pass it off as her own in an attempt to make herself seem interesting, or she'll simply invent something. And the problem is that when she's inventing something, she isn't an accomplished liar in the sense of doing it in a way which is seamless and almost undetectable. Instead, because she's not particularly articulate nor intelligent, when she tells a lie, she struggles to find the words. It's not because she knows that she's lying. Remember, as an unaware narcissist, her lies are her truth. So she doesn't sit there and think, I know I'm telling a lie, but I'll still say it. But I'm a little bit hesitant because I know I'm having to make this up. No. That narcissism doesn't work that way. It can't work that way because it wouldn't be effective enough. What's happening is her narcissism decides, right, in order to assert control over the interviewer and the audience and the production staff, you need to talk about something now. And therefore, we'll just invent something for you. So she starts saying it. But because she isn't able to draw it from an actual memory, but rather that it's being created by her narcissism, although she doesn't realize this, and because she's not particularly articulate, when she starts to tell this lie, which she believes is the truth, it comes out in a hesitant fashion. And because she's being questioned about something, that is a threat to her control, which can start to generate anxiety on the part of this one's wife. She does experience anxiety, she does experience fear, and her narcissism will harness those things in order to drive her towards the prime aims. So an alternative explanation is that we see this rapid eye blinking because it's a symptom of her anxiety as she flounders trying to find something to say. It's the case that we see her waving her hands around because that is done subconsciously to create a distraction because she actually hasn't got anything meaningful to say, or it's to buy her time. You might notice on other occasions she will tuck her hair behind her ear, which gives her a natural pause. If she was sat with a cigarette, she'd take a drawer on that. If she wore glasses, she'd take them off and polish them. These are standard tactics that are utilised, and her narcissism will use them and similar ones to buy her time while it crafts the anecdote for her, while it dredges up the invented recollection. And whilst there is a slight pause as that is happening, the anxiety is felt by this one's wife. So we see the jaw jutting. We see the anxiety with the rapid blinking. We see the looking around. And accordingly, this can also give the appearance of her having taken drugs, when in actual fact it's linked to the somewhat glitching nature of her narcissism. We don't have any actual evidence of her drug use, other than there are factors that suggest that it's more likely to happen with her. But in relation to this clip, it could be that she is stimulated as a consequence of drug use, or it might be as a consequence of a response of her narcissism. What do you think it is, valuable viewers? What do you think that you're witnessing when you've seen this clip? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for watching.